Well, Norm, we survived another Eagle River 10 years of going up there. This is season 5, episode 8, post 62nd World Championship Derby. What a weekend. We've seen a new face put on the Snowgore Cup trophy. And not an upset.
Not an upset at all.
It was well deserved.
Absolutely. In case you didn't know, Zach Dewald picked up the 62nd World Championship trophy this last Sunday, and it was in dominating fashion. Had there not been a little bit of lap traffic or a few late race reds, it would have been probably 25 straight flag to flag that he led.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think he wanted it 25 straight. And the worst part is the mishap comes out with a lapper. It's just,
yeah.
Where was the signal on that? Where was that lapper getting notified? Like, hey, these are the leaders coming up on you. Don't do something stupid, right?
Yeah, we got race seavers and we got
race seavers. You don't want to be in the ear.
You don't want to be in the ear, but
that's a little upset. But
blue flags with the yellow stripe and stuff like that. That's racing incident.
Could have been on top of that a little, and I think it would have went straight through if we went ahead a little mishap.
Yeah, because they say cautions breed cautions, and then there's 2 more after that.
That is a true term, cautions breed cautions.
Zach had to earn it about 3 times in a row, so there's that, and we'll get to him in just a little bit. But yeah, it was a great weekend. Talked to a lot of people, saw a lot of people. Got to thank a lot of people that let us come into the hot box and eat food and sit there and hang out. And
yeah, we had a ball, and I watched the race actually standing on the outside porch. I just got lucky enough to view it with standing next to Zach or Fernand, and we had a lot of fun chatting through as it went through. It felt like a blizzard in turn 1 with the snow dust blowing through, but we had a ball. And the hot boxes were wonderful, and all of our guests, and we were guests of many, and we enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, a lot of people to thank, like I said, and then it was chilly. I watched the final race, did a little filming from the paddock area. It was plenty cold. I was good and frosted over after I don't know how long it took, a couple minutes outside, 25 laps. So yeah, but it was a blast. So
all right, so we've got some housekeeping. We're going to jump into results from the weekend, and then we'll go on from there.
Yeah, throw me up there.
Yep, you got it, man.
All right, results from the weekend. Started out the weekend, obviously we started first at the Hall of Fame.
That was we'll touch on that later in the show about the Hall of Fame and how that kind of run down. But let's jump right into Friday Night Thunder.
Yeah, so Friday Night Thunder, starting out in the Pro Champ class, that was the Pro Star Cup Tour race. Probably the best champ race in the last couple of years that I've seen in person. It was very dicey with Blaine, Gavin, Matt Gady was up in there too. The top 4 were really close for a long time. Unfortunately, there was a little collision at the end, sent Gady to the back. It's kind of a racing deal in my opinion. But Blaine Stevenson picked up his 3rd straight Pro Star Cup win over Gavin Peterson and Justin Peterson.
Yeah, the kid's on a ripper. He's throwing suds around like they're nothing underneath him, which Blaine was strong on the champ and early on the F3 with the track conditions.
Yeah, and then over to junior F500, the Meyer Michigan Missiles. Derek and Ben picked up the top 2 spots over Brody Tannen. Outlaw class, our buddy Tim Hibbert. It was great to see him this weekend. He is the life of the party.
Yeah, there was some awesome clips of him coming out of Trizingers in the pits on Friday, and we spent some time in the pits with him, and it's always fun with the madman from New Hampshire.
Yeah, picked up the outlaw win over Joe Schneider and Chris Plasky.
And he loves waving.
Yeah, he does. He didn't wave. He had both hands on the wheel Friday night.
Yeah, he was not letting one slip for sure this time. But he pulled it off again Friday Night Thunder.
Yeah, F500 for Friday night. Dane Klinger picked up the win over Colton Graber and Brad Kolchak. 3 very fast sleds. Look for them to compete in the Decker Triple Crown this weekend at Wausau.
I believe the Graber camp's got some sleds up for sale if people are looking to buy some fast equipment.
Yeah, they said they're going sprint car race instead, is what the post said. So.
I don't know. Must have got under the skin getting beat a little.
Yeah, or they're just sick of the body banging. They were playing bumper cars again.
Well, these drivers' meetings got a little more got to get a little fear to these guys. These F500 guys are causing some issues here.
Yeah, once in a while. F500 600 combo class. Troy Dewald picked up the win over Dustin Schwann and Drake Nicolo.
Yeah, the players that Troy was running around was a rocket ship. The 500s didn't have anything this weekend for the 600s coming out of the Myra racing circuit.
Yeah, a lot of fast 600s there. Moving over to the Sweet 16. Blaine Stevenson picked up the win on his F3 over Zach Dewald and Joe Birch, and Zach led a lot of the Sweet 16.
Yeah, with about 4 or 5 to go, had a little slip up on entry and let Blaine get on through.
Yeah, but it was a great show between those three as well.
And it was a speaker for who's going to be fast on Sunday. You know, Zach with a win and Joey wrapping up at a second and Blaine a third. You know, that podium didn't change.
No, just position. So, yeah, good stuff there. And then some Sunday finals. Of course, the 62nd World Championship. You had Zach Dewald picking up the win over Joe Birch and Blaine Stevenson. In the Pro Enduro class, you had Jordan Carlson over Zach Dewald and Dylan Brady. Zach almost got 2.
Yeah, Zach had a good start to the weekend. It looks like the sled went away about 15 or 20 in. And Jordan Carlson, I seen Zach do a little snow crossing through the infield one lap and nearly got so yeah, the sleds, you could see the track change and evolve, and it was good enduro though.
Yeah, they had to change it a little bit with the snow dust and weathered 40 lap with some heats in there, so they made it work. And hats off to the Meyer guys to make the adjustment. F500 final on Sunday had Colton Graber over Colton Abraham and Connor Ballman, and then Pro Champ Blaine stayed fast on the champ sled over Matt Gady and Calvin Peterson. Schedule coming up. This is pretty much this entire weekend. All sorts of racing. You got the Sprint World Cup in Wausau with USSA. Ice Oval Unlimited is at Dorchester. The Boonville Snowfest is going on this weekend as well. CMPR is at Sauk Center. And then there's an Outagamie Conservation Club race. That is a non-PVR race, but I know a lot of PVR folks are heading that way. And then all the way out in Priest Lake, Idaho, is some vintage racing going on this weekend. And, of course, we'd like to thank the fine folks at Woody's Traction Products. Rick, unfortunately, didn't make it to the race this weekend. He was watching the Lions game.
That's a tough
Unfortunately, that was a tough one to watch. Should have came to Eagle River. Results might have been different. I don't know. I just got to give him a little grief as a Packer fan. The folks over at the USSA Pro Star Series, and for this weekend at Wausau, practice is starting at between 8 and 9 Saturday and Sunday. Drivers meeting at 9 and going racing at 9:30 both days. And if you're looking to get out to Wausau, it is $20 for a single day pass and $30 for a weekend. Yeah,
we get to have some fun at the USSA Pro Star Series this weekend. Being in Wausau, working with the live stream. Norm, are you looking forward to camera time in the cold?
Yes, it's not going to be as warm as last year, so I'm going to dress a little warmer and running probably the infield camera and doing some interviews in the pits. So that'll be a blast.
Yeah, we got some cool stuff that we're working on right now, and if it goes as planned, it'll be shown on live stream, and it'll be a new feature for the stream.
Yes, I have a new camera that we're going to try something.
And we have maybe aerial video too, and some other stuff. We're excited about it.
I gotta figure out if it's going to work. It'll be a little test and tune tonight.
Friday will be a lot of test and tune.
Yeah, so. And then, of course, Rick over at Papa Seasonings handed out some Bloody Mary stuff this weekend. Got a few more to hand out at Wausau, so come find us.
Comment Bloody Mary in the comments, show that you want something. So if we do see you, we can get one out to you.
Yeah. Emperor One CBD products and PJR Home Services. And that's everyone. All right. Got the housekeeping done. Marcus Callan. Ouch. No, I had the sports results. I just can't fit every class on the page. I'm sorry, Marcus. I know he picked up the win.
Yeah, he did pick up the win. So he was hoping to get on.
I know. So, without further ado, let's bring on your 62nd world champion, Mr. Zach Dewald.
Thanks for having me, guys. What's going on?
Not much. Thanks for being here, Zach. Great job this weekend. Obviously, I guess let's start out with a recap. Talk us through your weekend, starting off with Friday.
So we qualified fourth, I think. Yep, fourth for the WC for the lineup, and had a good start. It was definitely the best sled that we've entered the weekend with. Going into the World Championship, and had a good run, and just needed to find a little bit of speed. Made our way into the Friday Night Thunder, the final, and had a good start there. Led quite a few laps, and just Blaine picked my weaknesses away there and got underneath me and took off for me for the win there Friday night, which was probably a blessing in disguise come Sunday.
Yeah, that extra track time is crucial, I think, for the tunability. And you had a great start off to the weekend. Qualifying, you had a lap that just looked consistent. You weren't really pitching the sled as aggressive as a lot of the guys, and the time came out really clean. I'd take a fourth, and that's a good heat to be in, truthfully, the way it shuffles out for going into the week. You had some stacked ones for sure. Some races you had to really fight, but I think you had a good control on the weekend.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good. I think that was our goal going into qualifying, just be smooth and see what the sled had and see what we had to work with and adapt with the ice conditions and adapt with stuff as it changed throughout the weekend. And so yeah, it did work out good with Blaine winning Friday night. So he went straight to the pole on Sunday, and we had some good heats going through Saturday, and it wasn't nothing too crazy to get in the show.
Yeah, you guys stayed up to date on track conditions, and we're not saying that Blaine didn't. He got to run his champ a little bit on Saturday, but do you feel like just getting those extra rounds in and really fine tuning for Sunday helped you out quite a bit? Yeah,
we definitely made a few changes that gained us quite a bit of speed. They weren't like huge chassis changes, or they weren't really big swings, but I think they had a crucial, they played a big role in the race come Sunday, and we really had good motor down the straightaway and good drive off the corner, and thing was hooking up awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you want it to go 25? I mean, as an enduro racer, I'd assume you'd like 25 straight.
Yeah, especially with being out front. I did not like any of them red flags. I wanted that thing to go all the way through. We had good starts all weekend. The guys at Players had us set up. I mean, that thing was just like a rocket off the line, and it was super consistent. He's really easy for me to drive, and it was great.
Yeah, as you ran into the first red flag was kind of a fluke deal with a lapper. Can you walk us through that a little bit and kind of just what happened?
Yeah, just clicking stuff away, clicking laps away. It's tough to see out there. Snow dust was pretty heavy there Sunday, and I'm buddies with Dustin. I know Dustin's not that guy to do that something like that on purpose, but it's all the heat of the moment, and I should have been more careful as well. Being out in the lead, and I didn't know how big of a lead I had, but part of me thinks that there needs to be a blue flag thrown too. There's that flag's there for a reason. To not interrupt the guys coming around with the lead, but it is what it is, and luckily it didn't disturb the outcome of the race, and it definitely changed stuff though, and made it a bit more stressful for me. I know that.
Yeah, you guys ended up having to.
The 3 restarts is tough.
Yeah, 3 restarts and it's winning it a couple different times with the final caution coming on the last lap.
I think that one should have been thrown. The race surface was truly clear up until to the flag. Like, there was no reason for that red. I think the guys got a little excited up in the tower for both reds. I believe Foss, when he got off on the infield, was parked on the infield. Yeah, it was interesting how happy the guys were in the tower calling reds.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, I obviously hated to see them every time, but
have you watched the race back in general yourself, or just kind of have you sat and watched it and kind of just? diagnosed and seen what
I
it did?
watched it on the way home there Sunday or Monday morning or whatever. And yeah, it's tough. Like you said, a couple of them I thought could have been let go, but I seen a checker flag get waved too with the red on the last one, or when they called it one to go or before that. So we had a little bit of moment of celebration there where we were told that it was over with, and then we were pumped up. We did it, and then all of a sudden we had to do one more lap. Like, oh man, this could change in a hurry, very easily. Like we could have to slip up here and spin off the start, or for whatever reason the sled not leave the line, and like go in too hot in turn one and lose everything. I could easily wound up not even on the podium there. So
yeah, what how do you get refocused after that? I was right in the paddock and I got some photos, and it was you hugging Mickey and your team. We did it, and then all of a sudden it's, oh shit, we got one more lap.
Yeah.
How do you reel yourself back in and focus back up?
Yeah, there was definitely an oh shit moment there. We had to settle back down and regroup. No, it's tough. I mean, I guess just do the same thing I did all weekend and put my head back on and go after it one more time. I mean, it's probably easier said than done, but it all worked out.
Yeah, didn't know of no change of outcome, luckily.
Yeah.
As you said in your post-race interview, you just went back to the protocol it took to get off the line. You've been doing all weekend, and you said it pretty well. And you did it. You showed it. You went back to what you were doing all time after time, and put a show on.
Yeah, we really got our starts dialed in this weekend. Became super consistent, and there was no surprises leaving the line, and thing hooked up each and every time. And I don't know how we did it, but we did. It feels awesome to run with them guys, and I don't think we're quite a favorite going into the race. I mean, obviously, them guys have been dominating that class the last couple of years. Matt and Blaine and Tom, them guys they're all really strong.
Those guys had a great conversation in turn 2, third caution. You could almost hear it from the outside.
I could hear it. I was about 30 feet away. I heard every word.
Yeah. Once that was settled, did that give you a little breath once you seen those two sleds not behind you? You had Joey Birch, then a guy you've raced with consistently. Actually, Reed Klinger was second, and then Joey was sitting third on that last restart. Did that give you a breath of fresh air, or maybe that's a little more nervous with the young gun underneath you and possibly do something unpredictable?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Matt and Blaine were my biggest worries through the whole race. I mean, we all know them guys they're the ones to beat in that class and any class that they're in. But we just had to do the same thing, man. We had to protect the inside, and I definitely knew either one of Reed or Joey or any of them guys could pull it off, and I just couldn't think about that in the moment, I guess.
Yeah, and then of course you got to wrap it all up. You won the WC, and then you got to go get on an enduro sled to go another couple rounds and 40 more laps. How do you prepare yourself for something like that?
I mean, I wish we'd get more seat time, and I could say I got a lot of seat time to prepare myself for stuff like that, but it's usually just at the racetrack. I mean, this year we've got tested a handful of times in the lake, which is a lot more than usual.
You got to get up to Ironwood.
Yep. Being from lower Michigan, we usually don't get that much seat time, and we went and did some testing in Ironwood and realized that our sled was close up there. We were closing in on them guys and on Matt and Blaine, and we knew we had a chance going into the weekend. We hoped for good things, made a few gains, and made it work.
With being a longevity or used to big races, that cushion, the way it developed throughout the weekend, you're used to it on the normal circuit you run, getting to the cushion and kind of using it. Did that develop well in that 25 lapper? And could you use that to advantage for a little cover, just to cover up the bottom versus knowing that it's there and the guys can't do much with it?
Yeah, for sure. I think it kind of bit me Friday night too. I was kind of using more of a high line there coming out of turn 2 on Friday, and the more the track got worked up and more slush got out on the track, that high line went away. There's more guys are going to the bottom, and that's how Blaine got underneath me there. And so I learned from that, and I just, like 10, 15 laps into the final Sunday, I just stuck to the bottom, and then once that red flag come out, we talked about it. Me and Todd, Ricky, my crew chief there, we talked about just stick to the bottom. We at that time it was Matt right behind me, and he wasn't going to be able to go around us on the outside the way the track was. So worked out good. I just try not to overdrive it. That place is really easy to drive it in deep and slide up the track and them tight paperclip corners there at Eagle.
Absolutely. And we were talking a little bit before, but for the folks watching, what's your driving background? Obviously, you're a Myra Enduro racer. Got big plans for the Sioux in a few weeks, but how long have you been on a sled for?
So we've been racing like the Pro Myra circuit. This would be our 4th season, or my 4th season. This would be our 3rd shot at the Sioux. We've had some success in the last couple of years in the Myra circuit already in the enduros, and been having a lot of fun with it. Got a lot of great guys behind me and a lot of knowledge inside our trailer that maybe a young guy like me doesn't get right away in his career. But I lucked out with them guys behind me right away.
Yeah, it's always, you got to give credit to the crew, and it's always not just about one person. It's the whole package that makes the team successful. As far as F3 goes, other than, last year's WC and this year's, how much do you get on that at any of the Myra events?
We usually race it every weekend, or, there's 3 or 4 Myra events every season that we get on it. And I can't say I've had hardly any success on it at the Myra circuits. I mean, we've really struggled on the big tracks with it. Eagle River is actually where we've shined on that Formula 3 sled for the last couple of years, and usually, we think we're going to have a good sled when we go to the big tracks, and for some reason we just have. We've got our asses kicked there a few times, and so it's nice to succeed somewhere, anyways.
Yeah, Eagle River is usually one of those tracks that can spit you up and chew on you, and all the gremlins come up. But the last 2 seasons been pretty good for you there.
Yeah, the thing kind of gets pushed to the wayside once we get in the enduro races, and we're kind of more focused on the big race on Sundays, and it's not that we don't focus on the F3, but it just isn't our priority on in the Myra circuit.
I think we see that across with most of the guys on the F3s. They have a few sleds that they race as well, and once WC weekend's over, it kind of the pressure's off on the F3 for sure. I think we see that across the board.
Yeah, we keep it around just for good testing and clutching and everything, and keep learning with it. But so
now, do you have any other sprint experience in any other classes? I know you run the sportsman class, and how do they compare, I guess?
Yeah, last few years we did my old man's got the Sportsman 600 that I ride once in a while. He was on it this past weekend. So me and him, we used to battle it out on them all the time last year and the year prior. He drove just about a twin sled for a friend of ours, and that sled got sold this past summer. So then I lost my ride, and he took over the 57 Sportsman this year at Eagle and Ironwood, and he'll be on it the rest of the year most likely. But it definitely helps with seat time. You understand what the track's doing throughout the day, and just seat time in general. Just for me as a driver, getting better all the time on it. And other than the sportsman class, did some like 340 supermod stuff a couple years ago, and dabbled in that, but never got on a 440 much, and never chased that venue a whole lot.
Yeah, and you guys got a big race this weekend in Kinross. 250 lapper, and then obviously the super big one, first weekend of February, is the Sioux 500. Way longer races than what we've seen at Eagle River. And how do you prepare yourself for that?
I'd say it's a lot of hours in the shop, making sure these sleds are going to be able to go the distance and make sure they're perfect. Nothing's going to break on them. They're set up to be as best as they can at the end of the race, but still be on pace all day long. There's so many things that can go wrong. There's so many weird and odd gremlins at the Sioux that you can never even dream of that would go wrong, and they do at places different. But obviously we got to stay in shape for the long races. That these big sleds, throw them around all day long can wear you out, but nothing that we can't handle.
Are you on a very large training regiment, or is it kind of more of a ride style, just consistently putting laps in on something no matter what it is, or are you spending a lot of time in the gym in the off season?
I try. We get in the gym quite a bit, pretty regularly. I wouldn't say that I have like a certain training regimen, that I do, but do what I can to stay in shape and be ready for race season. I think I definitely spend more time in the shop than I do in the gym.
Yeah, shop time is important. Like we said, it's the whole package: driver and equipment and team. Going into a big race like the Sioux, how many laps do you guys switch kind of every fuel stop? You got a couple drivers on the sled.
Yep. Yeah. So like this year, James Hicks and Larry Young Jr. will ride with me. So we got 3 drivers. These players like ours, we can do 80, 85 laps with them. And that's about it. We figured that out for sure a couple years ago. But yeah, so we can't quite get to the plow breaks. The plow breaks are at 100 laps. During the minor races, we can, they're every 60, 70 laps. But at the Sioux, it's every 100 laps they plow. So we gotta pit under green or pit under a caution or play the cautions to get fuel in the sled, and it's a long day at the Sioux planning that stuff out and making sure you're there and at the end and not a lap down, so you're in contentions at the end of the race.
Now, for planning for fuel breaks and short pitting or doing what you guys have to do to keep the sled running, do you have a headset that you can communicate back and forth with your crew while you're on the sled with?
Yep. Yeah, we run radios at all of our enduro races in the Sioux, so I can talk back to the guys. They can talk to me. It's tough to communicate like when we're on the throttle, but we can talk pretty easily on the under cautions and stuff like that, and to keep track of what's going on.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah, that's got to be a different. The sprint guys don't get that experience ever, so you've had the ear, which is kind of neat. Is there any do you have multiple guys around the track with that, or you have one main mechanic kind of that's your communication, or?
Yeah, so we usually have one main guy. Todd Kirky usually is my guy on the headset. He's always letting me know what's going on, when we're gonna pit. Him and Mickey's real good and figuring our pit stops out, whether we're short pitting to get fuel or we've been in situations where we had to get laps back at the Sioux, and it's tough. It's tough to race your way back to get a lap back at the Sioux. I mean, it's a mile track, and to go around the leaders is a big task. You got to have a good long green flag stretch to be able to do it, and the sled to do it. So you gotta play your pit strategies right and get in behind the leaders or get out in front of them. So it's some teams have a spotter up on the hill, calling cautions maybe before the track can see it or the track radios can announce it. Sometimes this plays a big role, but we usually just got guys in the pits and a couple guys on top of the trailer watching.
That's so interesting. Do they get the spot for you? Like, hey, someone's running this line, try running in their tracks to keep them behind you, like a true race spotter.
Yeah, we can do that. a big thing is too, like, James is really good at when he's getting off the sled. He can jump back on the radio and talk to me. Hey, in 3 and 4 up above the berm, there's a clean line. It's fast. Get up there. Stay out of the bumps. Whatever. Let me know what's going on with the sled. Any kind of adjustments we need to make midway through the race. We can have the crew ready to do that, and whether it's suspension changes or whatever we want to do in the front end, or there's always something you can improve on throughout that race. It's a long day.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's my kind of race, and I'm a stock car guy, so it's always fun being able to communicate with your driver and, oh, this is what we're going to change, or this is the first thing to look at, kind of stuff like that. So that's pretty exciting. I guess I've talked to a few different enduro drivers. I think your dad and Ryan Spencer being two of them. And they've always said we would rather run 100 enduro laps than 10 or 25 sprint laps. Where do you fall in that category?
Oh, for sure. Felt like that 40 lap enduro. I was just settling in there this weekend, especially with the 25 lap Formula 3 races. That sled's a lot more aggressive, and ours was really good this weekend. It was easy to drive. It wasn't too much of a handful, so I felt pretty good after 25 laps. But in years past, 25 was enough on that thing. It whooped the shit out of you. But the enduro sleds are a bit more laid back. You're sliding around, and even though they're a lot heavier, they're easier to drive in my opinion. But a lot of times, as enduro drivers, we're too patient, and we don't, we're not so aggressive right away, right off the start of the race, where you kind of work into them lines, and you can experiment some stuff to where you don't get to experiment in a lot of these sprint races. You got to be perfect every lap, or else you're going backwards. Yeah,
that's for sure. I noticed in the enduro sleds, and like you said, they're less aggressive, but they don't tip over as easy. It seems like they
kind of float a little.
They're floating, and if they spin out, the driver usually stays on. They just quick loop it back around and head back down.
Yeah, for sure. The trail studs definitely don't penetrate the ice like the like the T-nut studs or the steel picks do. So they definitely skate around quite a bit more. They're a lot harder to slow down, and but the twin pipe motors make them get going pretty good. So they're a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well,
that's your
yeah.
Anybody you got to thank?
Anyone you'd like to thank? Sponsors, team?
Oh, I got all kinds of people I got to thank. Everybody at the shop, all throughout the week. Everybody at Mickey's shop, Mickey, Todd, Larry, Jason, Matt, Joe, Terry, Cam. There's hundreds of hours that goes into these sleds getting ready for these races, and every week after these enduros, getting them ready for the next one. And all our sponsors, obviously Mickey Sleds, Polaris, Woody's Traction, XLT Engineering, Felsky Farms, DHT, Romer Utilities, Flaggy Racing, FXR, Walker Evans, USI Skis, J&R Tool, Alaska Underground, Ballistic Farms, Wizard Automotive, Ridge Sunglasses. We got a whole lineup of awesome people behind us, and we wouldn't be out the track every weekend if it wasn't for each and every one of these guys.
Yeah, like we said, it takes a village, and it's all about having the right package, right group of people involved.
Yeah.
So
I gotta thank my old man and my mom for letting me do this stuff, and my girlfriend Kaylee for putting up with me being gone to the shop every night and every weekend racing. She loves coming to the racing with us up. So that's really cool. I appreciate her, everything she does for me, and we're having fun.
Yeah, it's fun it's always fun when you're fast and successful. It's
dark when you're.
It's not always fun when you have a rough weekend, but
yeah,
you guys did very good this weekend, and looking forward to seeing what you can do the rest of the season.
We're gonna jump into some comments. See if anybody's got questions for you. We did something a little different. We got
one from Hacker. It's
yeah.
It was when we were talking about, the blue and yellow flag and stuff. He said, do you count laps or do you rely on the flag man?
No, I don't count laps. I'm looking for that white flag. I guess I have we have an idea when the cross flag comes up, halfway point, but I'm usually looking for that white flag once I get to the point, where you think you're close. I'm not very good at counting, so I don't waste my time.
It's really tough to count laps on the sled. I'm not gonna lie. With 2 corners, they seem to add your laps turn into 2 lap counts.
Well,
They never go by as quick as you hope they do.
No, they take long. They feel like they take forever. I feel when you try to count them in your head, and then you may dial yourself out.
You're better off just running until they tell you to stop.
When you see the white flag, you're happy.
I've definitely missed the checkered flag before.
Kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. I couldn't do it. Never raced, but I don't think I have enough focus to like look over every lap to, see what lap we're on. So it would just have to be for the white flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eagle River's pretty good. I mean, you're straightened out when you're coming by the flag, man. It's not like some of them tracks where you're still curving around and you can see the flag man pretty good there. So it's nice.
Yeah. I guess at the Sud, with it being a mile long, if the straightaways aren't completely whooped out, do you get 10 seconds of rest pulling yourself up for the straightaways?
Yeah, pretty close. I think we did the math one time. It's like 11 or 12 seconds. You're wide open for each straightaway there at the Sioux. So you get a second to, kind of relax, and you can take a hand off the handlebar and tuck down and
wipe your goggles.
And the flag man's at the entrance of 1, right?
Yep.
I believe he's right before 1.
Yep.
Okay. Well, very cool stuff.
You got plenty of time to see it at the Sioux.
Yeah. Well, that's your 60-second world champion, Zach Dewald.
We got one last question.
Okay.
From Mark Resch. How did you like the press party on Thursday at the Hall of Fame? You sat down with us, so we appreciated it.
That was cool. That was my first time being at the Hall of Fame. I think that was really cool to get everybody out there, and I think just 75% of the people that were there had never been there before. And we've all been around sport for quite a while and all involved in the sport. So it was cool to get everybody out there and check everything out. I think it's good for all the drivers and the sport in general to get off campus there and go check that place out. Yeah,
absolutely. It was a great time there. We got to talk to a lot of people. We'll touch on that in just a little bit. And then we got Jeff Vanderson asking how the setup is different in Eagle versus some flatter tracks that you might race on the Myra circuit.
Just a lot tighter. The driving style is a lot different. I think a lot of guys can get on test on lakes before we go to Eagle River, and I don't think you can set up a sled on a lake and try to race for Eagle River. It's either you're super tight when you pull into Eagle or you're way loose. It's like your sled's not even close every time. I mean, that's how it is for us anyways, seems like. But
I believe that comes from the man-made ice versus lake.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. There's definitely the man-made ice is a lot harder, it seems like, and just the banking in the paperclip corners are very hard to replicate. And a lot of our Myra tracks don't have a lot of banking to them, so they're quite a bit different in setup, and you're not slowing down near as much in the corners.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that. I wish they would put you guys further up the banking. Really get racy up there and not as much of the paperclip at the bottom. I get that though, because some years they run into lack of ice problems with weather, to where they got to keep you on the bottom where there's more ice. But it's extremely hard to, you're comparing apples to oranges, going from a flat track to a bank track and expecting to be fast out of the box.
Oh yeah.
I
I
guess with
definitely
the
thought
slot,
3 and 4 could get pushed up into the banking more. Seems like it's it's a completely different corner than 1 and 2. You can get into the banking a little bit coming out of 2, and through 1. But I've yet to see the track get up to the banking in 3 and 4.
yeah, it hasn't in the last few years. You haven't had that super high entry on 3. That
Yeah.
we have seen in the past WCs of the Gary Moyle era of guys just scraping the bales and using the banking like no tomorrow. We haven't gotten to that era again.
Yep. Yeah, I know my crew chief Todd. He always talks about the old Supermod 800 days when he won the WC there, and I want to say like 2013 or something like that. And he's always telling me he's way up top, just ripping around the outside. And it's like, man, I'd be putting like 3 seconds on my lap time if I was going up there. But the track is definitely different, I think.
Yeah. I think the sleds too. You got a lot more power with the F3s, a lot of bottom end torque. You can really scrub a lot of speed in, get it pointed, and just hammer down. You don't need as much cornering speed as you did in the past.
Yeah, no, for sure. They
So-
they got a lot of torque right off the bottom.
Yeah. Well, Zach, we can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy week. Coming back from one big race and then getting ready for another to join us here tonight. So thanks again for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. We'll keep grinding throughout the week and be in Kinross this weekend and jump right in the Sioux the week after. So thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, wishing you the best of luck the rest of the season, and maybe we'll see you up at the Sioux. Brandon might be going up there. I'm up in the air, so
yeah.
Right on. Well, you guys wind up there, swing by the 57 trailer.
All right. Thanks again. That's your 62nd world champion, Zach Dewald.
Thanks, guys.
Wow, that was great interview. He was great to interview with on Thursday night at the Hall of Fame. So I guess we'll jump right into that. Yeah,
made it easy.
Made it really easy.
that was
very good
that was
talker.
Good. A lot to talk about.
Hopefully he sticks on. We'll talk to him after the show. But yeah, Thursday our weekend kicked off at the Hall of Fame in Saint Germain for a little media driver draw for qualifying order. I really liked it. I think it was great that the track did that. It got people into the Hall of Fame that have never been there. All the drivers were super welcoming that came and talked to us. I think it was great. A lot to build on. I think it's something that they should definitely continue for years to come.
Yeah, I think we've the group learned a lot there, and it did open a lot of eyes to the history of the sport. Seeing the gold wall in the background of the chip draw, it did have some excitement. It was a way to kind of get the teams together. For sure, I'd like to see some improvements. They're going to be more of a media pen for the drivers to hang out in, and I want to see these guys get questioned a little more.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we had media there, but a lot of them didn't know how to go about it without having a media pen or tracking the guys down, I think.
Yeah.
So there's some stuff I think we could see some changes and a little production and some lights and stage and
give something for the crew to do too. You're talking something about like a ski swap challenge or something, kind of like what Snowcross used to have. Who can change a carbide out the fastest or something like that for the crews to do. Give them a gift card or product or something like that. Just it's something to build on. So that was a great thing that I think they did. It was a lot of fun. I had never been to the Hall of Fame, so it was my first time up there, and can't wait to go back.
Well, on a ski challenge, I know what team's probably would win that. The sprint guys won't have much of a shot, I don't think. Hate to break it to
make them
them.
change a carbide.
They're gonna have to. Change a carbide. They'd probably bring Milwaukee's, all of them, and it'd be the same.
Snap the studs off, tightening them up. So, no, good thing. Like we said, a lot to build on. Eagle River is a good weekend. Needs seating for future events. Yeah, Mike said needs some seating, and again, things to work on.
It's got
It's
potential.
got
I
a
think
lot of potential, and
you get a board together and kind of let them run with it. I think there's some great opportunity there. It's important to get that media out, and drivers, if you did get an opportunity to speak to people, that's great. But if you didn't, I expect you to step up more.
Yeah.
You gotta show you want to be here and in the sport, because the sport needs it more than anything. If you don't back your media people or get out
The
and help
event.
them show off this event won't exist.
Yeah.
I know this is the reason we brought, the team from Eagle River brought this on, is because they want this to exist. We're not here to just watch it be club racing. We're trying to make it more. We're trying to give you the opportunity in front of a camera, trying to give you a chance to show off your sponsors. Let's make sure that you're getting in front of it and doing your due diligence. If you're arrogant about it, maybe you're not as important to be in the sport, I guess, because it's very important to get in front of these things and spearhead this. We need to preserve what we love, and that's racing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And hats off. Thanks to the drivers that we did get to interview. There was probably a good 15 or 20 of them. Is great sitting down and talking to them. They were, we need some name tags because it was really hard to tell who the drivers were without their helmets and jackets on, at least for me.
Maybe a media pin with a hotspot, and you have to cycle through them, and you got a few guys, different media groups on each side of the pen, and we got to look at some other sports on how they're doing this,
or some press conferences. You put one person up at a time, and then someone from each media outlet asks a question for that driver, kind of thing.
Yeah, something change it up,
something to work.
Make it look bigger. It's got to be shown. Look at UFC, the way they do a weigh-in. They throw those two competitors, and we get a little drama out of it, which is cool. And
a couple of them, there might be some fisticuffs thrown, just like UFC, especially after this last weekend.
I was hoping for some, actually. As long as it happens between turn 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it's capturable on TV. Some fists aren't good media.
What does Chili Bowl say? If you're gonna fight, you got to do it on the front stretch, I think.
Yeah, and don't mess with the scoring girls in the paddock.
Yeah. So great weekend overall. They had a lot of ice, ton of ice. Hot boxes were full. They were sold out of hot boxes at Eagle River this year. Friday night, the hill was packed. And again, Sunday, there was way more people on the hill Sunday than I thought there was going to be with how cold it was. A couple hundred out on the hill. And again, the hot seats were full. So I don't know how many spectators there were, but it looked healthy. The track looked good, and the crowd looked good.
Yeah, maybe they'll do a media press release or something. The track will push that out for the drivers to have something, how many impressions they had on Flow or the Facebook page, or how many attendants at event. I think all that's important to get that out to the drivers, because they can sell it at the marketing opportunities they have. Absolutely.
That's a numbers thing they can present to a sponsor. Like, look how many sets of eyes were on what we do. Hall of Fame was a great event. A little dragged out at the beginning. I don't know.
It was kind of lost. No, we didn't have direction, I believe.
I think part of that was part of that was to get people there, because if they tell you 5 o'clock, racers are usually late. It'll be 5:15 by the time you get there. So that's why it didn't get going until almost 6. So that makes sense. But again, things to improve on. It was something to look forward to.
And if you don't show up, I know a few guys missed the draw if you didn't have a valid reason. I think you draw number 1 if that's the case. If you don't want to show up, you get that fresh ice.
Yeah, I agree. If you're not there to draw, you get either the virgin ice or you are the last guy. No, I think you're the last guy before plow break.
I penalize them. This is important. You gotta make a precedent standard of this is something you just don't skip.
That's true.
It makes their weekend tough if they don't show up. I hate to say it, but that's reality. And these series need to start putting some standards in for drivers. The way they act, the way they present themselves, how much they put out themselves. There should be X amount of content you should have to put out as a team throughout the weekend. There's many things we can do as an overall for this sport we love. Yeah.
Back to driver conduct just a little bit. This was brought up by a couple people.
Oh, okay. I know where you're going with this. They grind my
Kids,
gears.
come on, kids. Don't take your helmet off and throw your gloves on the track, especially if you're on the big track. No one wants to see, I don't know how old the kids were, 8, 10, 12-year-olds having a temper tantrum in turn one because you got tipped over. It happened a couple times. We were in the hot box and a little kid came up to me. He's like, "Did you see that other kid the other night do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, see." So people are paying attention.
The best part
doesn't look
the little one's like, "Yeah, that was not nice.
nice.
It was
Yeah, it was not
for.
nice. It was kind of uncalled for. And I'm like, okay, that's a younger person than what's out on the racetrack knows it's not the right thing to do. If I did that, my ass would have been paddled black and blue. I can tell you that.
I don't think you would have got him back on a sled again.
Yeah,
your dad would have pulled the plug.
Yeah, your dad would have done the same thing. It was kind of one of those deals. So
I'm not gonna lie, I've thrown my fingers a few times in
that's
in
one
the
thing.
racing,
Flying the bird is a little different, but that because the camera's not focused on you. The race is still going on. This was like dead stop, red flag. So I didn't like to see that. So not calling anyone out. It happened a couple different times. But
yeah, we talked about it the week prior too.
Yeah.
So it's something that we consistently see, and you guys gotta tone it back or tell the kids.
Yeah, I get it.
Or all drivers, all team owners kind of gotta.
The kitty cats were fun to watch behind the front stretch. I got out there for a little bit, watched them turn some laps. They're racy. That's their future, and numbers look pretty good for how cold it was on the kitty cat side. So that's always promising to see. But looking forward to this weekend. We're going to be at the Sprint World Cup in Wausau, doing a little video live stream work. It's going to be a good weekend. About a 50-degree temperature swing compared to the temperatures on Sunday to Saturday. So, anything you're looking forward to about this weekend? Any favorites? I mean, Blaine's going for 4 in a row in the Pro Star Cup.
This is a tough one. The Polaris power plants seem to be strong this year, but the Skidoos really dominate at Wausau. Could I see an upset of a Peterson probably doing something that we haven't noticed? Gavin's been coming on really strong.
Gavin and Kelvin. Kelvin finished 3rd on Sunday's race, and he was up there as part of the Friday Night Thunder show as well.
Yeah, Kelvin, could he be this new young one? Is the wall chassis maybe holding him back a hair? I think so. Could he prove us wrong? 100%. But he's on some older stuff, and the other guys are on the newer Hools and the newer wall stuff. So the kid's got a lot of potential there.
Yeah, another individual from this last weekend phenomenal job. Reed Klinger qualified 2nd in time trials. Made the show, I think, for Friday night. Or maybe didn't make the show for Friday Night Thunder.
On the champ sled or the
he finished 5th on the champ sled. He'd never been on a champ sled before. He got on the PDF ride and was leading a heat with Matt Gady for a while, finished 2nd to him in his first ever heat, then went out and finished 5th or 6th in the champ final for his first champ final, which I thought was very impressive. And he was running in the top 5 for most of the WC and came home with the 4th place finish. So he's a young gun that I think I was pretty impressed with.
Eagle River suited his drive style really well because he's got that young spirit yet, I'd say. A little aggressive. I think he'd get toner back a little. Don't want to see someone overdriving stuff, but yeah, I think he's got good opportunities for sure. But Wausau's a whole nother game. You're not pitching sleds. You're keeping stuff
the whole time.
You're rolling a lot of corner speed. You're trying to keep it straight and planted and not get up into the cushion. The cushion really develops at Wausau. It gets really tough on exit. But I'll give him a shout out. Yeah, he looked good at Eagle, and we'll see what he can do at Wausau. That's a good pickup for Team PDF. Yeah,
Hagen Racing. Yep,
Hagen Racing is a good pickup, and see a lot of potential there.
Yeah, Danik I think will be fast too. See that in the comments. He's had a pretty good season on the champ.
Yeah, and Danik suits those bigger tracks. I think he's a great half-mile racer, and the team is fast. I watched him postseason out in New Brunswick with some new clutching stuff that they were testing, and that showed very well in Ironwood. Wassa, I bet you it'll do the same thing. Danik will be a rocket ship as well.
Yes, I think so too. Who else we got? Frederick, 221. Yes, he did replace Hunter at PDF. I believe Sears is going back to his own equipment.
I wouldn't count Hunter out. You know,
yeah,
he's a strong
Hunter's been
driver
fast on his
equipment.
stuff in the past.
Didn't adapt well to the
team. That's a bigger,
I don't know if I'd say
bigger,
that. Maybe the sled is a 116.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was getting
versus the 106
sled.
he was previously used to. So little different ride style, but
no, that's what was going on there. But yeah, good for Dane PDF.
Any other guys that are drawing attention to you, Norm, for the Champ 440s going into?
The inaugural winner is Tommy Olson, and he ended up getting hurt at Eagle River. I don't know the status of him right now. I know he couldn't go for the WC on Sunday.
Yeah, I jumped in the wall trailer.
He hurt his wrist. So I'm hoping he can make it to Wassa. He's always pretty fast. He's had a fairly good season on the champ stuff so far.
Yeah. Tommy, if he can get that hand healed up, I believe it'll be good for him. I think they found some speed in the Polaris power plants, like I was saying. Last year they had some struggles, but right now it's coming down to Tom's hand. I know he was going to go see some specialists and get that looked at, some x-rays, maybe CTs, and see what happened there. But he had some swelling, quite a bit of swelling when I talked to him in the wall trailer on Sunday. Yeah,
another guy, Fred Mankey, too. Didn't have the best running at Eagle River, but he's been on the podium at Wassa before. Finished there last year, I think, 3rd place. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. But yeah, like you said, the Peterson boys, all 3 of them, Justin, Gavin, and Calvin.
And only 2 are related.
And only 2 are.
Gavin's his own, Peterson, and then we might have to figure out if we have live scoring shortened for the names. Like when both Leclerc brothers were on the track for F1, it was one was LEC and then one was ECE. Something, it comes up different. You always take the first letter away or something. So it's kind of a funny thing to way to read it, because when you're watching the race and there's like a live feed, it says Peterson.
Yeah, I think they got the numbers on the live scoring loop.
And that will be in Wassa.
Yeah, they are going to have live scoring.
Eagle River, so.
And then a Wassa announcement. They are setting bales starting at 9 o'clock Friday morning. You will get preferred trailer parking if you help throw bales. That was an announcement we heard over the weekend at Eagle River.
You just get a big trailer and they always give you preferred. By semis, you always get preferred parking.
Yeah, that's true.
We need more semis in the pits.
So I think that's about all we got for this week's show. Lots of racing going on this weekend. Sprint World Cup in Wassa, Boonville Snowfest, Ice Oval Unlimited at Dorchester, just the 25th. Also on the 25th would be CMPR at Sauk Center and the Autogaming Conservation Club non-PVR race.
That's a wrap.
And way out in Priest Lake, Idaho, you have some vintage racing going on. So
yeah, beautiful track out there.
I'm sure there's more that we're missing that we don't know of. It was Myra Kinross. So Tanner Foss. Yeah, Tanner did well. 5th place finish in the WC. Paul Sockwell, $16,000 in purse money added at Dorchester.
Man, Dorchester might be the hot spot for the guys. It's tough with these overlaps. You got the Decker Triple Crown this weekend. You got Dorchester with huge money to opportunity to win.
Yeah.
And
that'll be
who won last year.
Yeah, 28. Yes, Matt did win last year. I watched
the inaugural was
Tommy for the Sprint World Cup.
I wouldn't count Matt out for the Sprint World Cup this year. The new sled looking good. They're finding more speed every time it hits the track.
Yeah, Gunner always a favorite. I think he blew a belt the first year that Tommy ended up winning.
Yeah, that's racing.
So, part of racing. Timmy blew a belt leading the outlaw class. He was going to do some.
Yeah, he was
promising donuts in turn 1 and 2 in front of the hot boxes and blew a belt.
The guy's going through just too much power, too much Hooper power in the Tim Hibbert sled. But he'll get her tuned in. I don't think he's out. He's going to win and then retire. He's not done yet. My boy's gonna clean house.
He's going on a full tour. He said.
Yeah, so catching him in Valcour will be awesome, and seeing him on the flow there as well.
Yeah. So lots of racing to look forward to. We'll keep you updated at WASA. Be sure to watch the live stream, USSAProstar.tv. You'll see probably my ugly mug or Brandon's doing some pit interviews.
You're not too much for radio. You look good on camera, Norm.
Oh, gee. Thank you.
I seen you on a Christmas TV show at one time.
Yeah, I was. Oh, yeah. Yep. And Rudolph, I was, wow, what's the character? Cornelius.
Cornelius.
When I had my big bushy beard, they called me Cornelius. So that's going to do it for today. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Go enjoy some racing this weekend.